at the end of the day, you don't need mapping. You don't need to know where you are at a centimeter level. You just need really good AI. You just need really good intelligence. And you saw like all the extra sensors, all the extra hardware, all the extra cost to get the Waymo to run. Well, and this thing can do pretty well without any of that. Yeah, it's not doing too well today.
So that was one of the Tesla pumpers who's trying to convince you that Tesla FSD is awesome and they don't need all that fancy equipment to get it to work. Anyway, welcome back, everyone. We're going to be talking about the Tesla update on what's going on with Elon Musk's pay package vote. It's just a couple of days from now. And in fact, this is the most fascinating story on the market. That's why we track it. This is the most recent news. Norway Wealth Fund, right? So there's a big wealth fund in Norway. Vote against, so they're voting no, vote against Musk's $56 billion Tesla pay package. And this is causing a lot of fanboys and fangirls in the Tesla community to poop their diapers. So it is what it is. But actually, guys, it hasn't been that bad recently for Tesla stock. You can see here, it's been on a bit on the recovery, right? And I think everyone's kind of holding their breath to see what happens with the vote. That's why we track this again. It's in a couple of days. The other big earthquake recently also, I mentioned this headline before, but honestly, this is a really massive one. Elon Musk ordered NVIDIA to ship thousands of AI chips reserved for Tesla to X and xAI. And the basic gist when you read this, you're like, okay, Mr. Musk, where are your priorities? I mean, to me, I think it seems clear your priorities are not in Tesla, they're in X and your new venture xAI. And the issue is that, you know, Elon and basically tells everyone, hey, if you believe in Tesla and you believe in that we're, you know, artificial company, you should say invested. If you don't believe we're artificial company, you should go away. And when he says that kind of stuff, right, you're like, okay, I get your, you know, FSD vision, but why are you sending chips that are supposed to be for Tesla somewhere else? And that part's really bizarre. The other thing is too is that Tesla's spending tons and tons of money on advertising, basically advertising for Elon's pay. And I honestly, guys, I find this really disturbing because I was thinking about this today. Just imagine if Steve Jobs walked out on stage, you know, this is back when he was running Apple, and, you know, they would do this, introduce new products. And just imagine Steve Jobs ran up on stage and said, hey, guys, we're not talking about iPhones today. We're talking about paying me more money. And my team is working really hard to pay me more money. Like, wouldn't that be weird? One of the things that you know, you guys know this with Apple, they come out on stage and they say, hey, we got this best, you know, brightest products ever. It's the best one we've ever made. And they come out with something like every year. Tesla, not so much. They're like so focused on telling everyone that you should pay Elon. It's interesting because the pumpers are out in full force, you know, saying how dumb the Norway fund is, etc. And this is actually a quote from Elon, and this is an interesting quote because I want you to read the words carefully. So this is Elon saying, referring to the Norway fund voting no. Yeah, this is not cool. If they actually surveyed their constituents, they would discover overwhelming support in favor. Okay, so he's saying if you polled them, I mean, and I don't know where he would know this, right? Because how does he know what people who have money into the Norway fund, right? He's just kind of speculating here. But he thinks that they would be in support. This is something else that he wrote. Interesting. So far, roughly 90% of retail shareholders who have voted in favor of both resolutions. The public sentiment is unequivocally supportive, and this doesn't quite make sense. And when you look at the language, look at it again. So far, roughly 9% of the retail shareholders who have voted in favor of both resolutions. The public sentiment is unequivocally supportive, because he's saying here among the people who have voted, right? So we don't know what percentage have voted, and we don't know what percentage have not voted. We don't know, and he's making the case, and I don't, you know, I don't know if this is true or not. I'm just saying I don't know. Maybe they have. Maybe. I don't know. It's hard to trust things that Elon says, but I'm just saying, you know, I don't know. I can't say one way or the other if the people who have submitted votes in terms of the you know, retail shareholders, if they've 90% voted in favor or not. Obviously, if you're a pumper, you want to see that kind of thing, but I find it curious that he doesn't say how many of the retail voters or shareholders, I should say, did vote. Because my understanding is some of the shareholders are if you don't vote, that's considered a no vote. Also, too, I guess the ones that internationally are having a hard time voting. Yeah, we'll see. Anyway, just want to let you guys know on that one. And it's interesting because, talking about like how the pumpers respond. This is Amit. He's one of the pumpers. He pumps Palantir also. And he's like saying, the Norway State Fund is terrible. And he says here they own about 1% of all shares outstanding. I can't imagine what Elon is feeling, right? He feels sorry for the billionaire. This is anti-capitalism, anti-America, and anti-work. It's just so disgusting to see. And this was actually the one that really I thought was interesting. This is from Amit. This is again one of the pumpers. He says, everyone realizes Tesla stock is literally dead if Elon Musk leaves, right? Or he says, or do people legit think someone else can run this company? And one of the things that I've been thinking about, guys, if he leaves, because many people are essentially worshiping Elon. Yes, I think it would hurt the company in terms of stock because it's all pumped up because of it. But I want to bring in the but. The guy's 52 years old, talking about Elon, and I think he's going to leave in a few years anyway. So either way, I don't think if you think that the stock and the company will crash without Elon, I think he's going to be. I don't think he's going to be there much longer. Let's be generous, okay? Let's be generous, and let's say he works till 60. I mean, that's only another 8 years, something like that. And I'll be curious your guys' thoughts. How old do you think he'll work? He's 52. I don't think his health's great, which I'll show you guys in a moment here, but it's an interesting question. Now, there's other interesting things going on as well, and because Elon's very active in trying to get paid. There's I guess an engineer guy named Ashok Aluswamy wrote a post about how much he loves Elon and how AI is important and Elon's important to AI. And this weird part here where Elon wrote, he says, by the way, I never suggested that he say anything, and I had no idea he wrote this until I saw it 10 minutes ago. The reason why it's odd to write this, it's like, okay, so does that mean have you been suggesting for other people to write things? and do we, and something like this too, the way Elon writes stuff, it'd be like, oh, I didn't suggest that one of my employees, write a favorite post on me. I told my, assistant to tell that person to do it, right? So then that way Elon will be playing that gray area, and this is something he does a lot. And it's also really curious that the engineer person also wrote the same thing. This is from Ashok. He said, would like to clarify that this is my personal note that I decided to write to explain Elon's importance to Tesla. While the timing is partly in light of shareholder vote, I truly believe everything I wrote. I just find that odd. That people like feel the need to say, I really, really believe it. I didn't tell him to write it. I'll let you guys decide that one for your own, but when I read this stuff, I just find it odd. It is what it is. I'm showing you some of these tweets because if you believe all the stuff that, Elon's going to crash the stock, et cetera, if he leaves, but like he's already a loose cannon as it is. So, I mean, how much worse can it get? This is more from Elon. This is all recently, guys. Engineering is fun for me, whereas politics and posting on controversial issues feels like putting my hand on a hot stove. Mega pain. The reason I do the latter, talking about comments on politics and whatever controversial issues, the reason why I do the latter, admittedly ineptly at times, is because I think it is necessary to counteract the corrosion of civilization. So I guess according to Elon, when he comments on politics, it's to save civilization. Moreover, this is the guy writes weird stuff all the time. And this is another one, again, on June 9th. And I don't know if he's on some sort of chemical or something like that, some sort of substance, and he's out tweeting at home doing this stuff. Who knows where he is when he's doing these things, but this is what he's tweeting. I've mentioned something like this before, but if any of my companies goes public, talking about maybe SpaceX goes public or something, etc., we will prioritize other long-term shareholders of my other companies, including Tesla. Loyalty deserves loyalty. I don't know what to make of that, guys. So I'll let you guys decide. Honestly, I read these things and it's hard for me to understand, like, what is this? He's just all over the place all the time. For me, the stuff that would be more easier to digest is, okay, if you're focused on Tesla, stay at Tesla. Forget about the other stuff you're doing right now, right? I'm saying if that's your focus, and make great products that people want, and make more money by selling great products. The problem is, guys, is like this is all in the same day that he's writing these other tweets. Tesla will not launch refresh Model Y this year, Musk says. So I guess and they need some new models in the lineup, and so I guess it's not coming this year, and who knows when. And then this is actually coming from the same tweet. So he's busy on Twitter all day, right? And this is what the CEO is doing. He's busy, pumping up his pay package on Twitter and telling people that there's no refresh coming. Moreover, and guys, I've said this many times in the past. I actually personally, my personal thing, I said, and I'll repeat it over and over again. If Elon Musk wants to go to Mars and focus on that, please do. Have a listen to some of the things he says on that.
I would put everything else in the category of being really a different order of magnitude of difficulty. I don't think it will be very difficult to survive on Mars, frankly. I think it'll, from a technology challenge standpoint, that is small compared to full and rapid reusability. I wouldn't bring children initially because it's dangerous. The first flights may not succeed. It's a hazardous environment, so. But I think within, I don't know, less than 10 years of the initial landings, I would expect that it's safe to bring kids.
Do you think that you'll go to Mars in your lifetime?
Depends. If I live long enough, then yes.
So he's saying, it's easy to live on Mars, frankly, right? Easy, I guess, and not that difficult. And also, too, we're going to be having children on Mars. That's according to Elon Musk. But I thought that the question that was really interesting is when she's like, hey, do you think you'll go? And he's like, depending on if I live long enough, etc. I'm actually not even sure with his health that he could even go. And you remember that he basically, his doctor, or Elon, who knows, one of the two or both of them, basically got out of the fight with the Facebook guy, the Meta guy, Mark Zuckerberg. They were going to fight, and he was like, oh, I got bad health, etc. And when you see like his condition there, I mean, you can literally see what it is. This was another photo, and it's the same guy, right? You guys can see it for yourself. I don't think he's in great shape. I'm bringing this up again because if you're invested in Elon and the company, he's 52 years old. I can see it with my own eyes. He's not in great shape, and there's been rumors about drug use, which is a major thing. I mean, even if you pay him all his money and you get your shares diluted, etc., how much longer can this thing go? That's the question, and I think the vote's going to be fascinating to see what happens either way. My personal opinion is that I think AI is the next shiny object that everyone's jumping on board with. I think Elon knows that. The issue is with the AI thing, right? Is he's raising money, and if he really cared about Tesla, he would have rolled all of his AI stuff into Tesla, right? And said, yes, we're definitely an AI company. We're developing xAI at Tesla, but he's doing something completely different, right? It's separate from Tesla and diverting resources over there. It's strange. And the other thing too, after the vote coming up, and the next couple months will be really fascinating to see what happens with this thing. Is you have the next earnings report on July 17th, and then also too you have the whatever the announcement's going to be on August 8th. I say whatever, who knows? It's going to be some guy or woman or who knows in a costume of a robot dancing around driving a robotaxi that they have to push out on stage. That's going to be interesting. So anyway, I just wanted to share these thoughts with you guys, and that's the ultimate question. Which way is the vote going to go? If Elon Musk leaves Tesla, will that crash the stock? And if Elon Musk stays at Tesla, will that crash the stock? And also too, I mentioned before, even if he stays, I don't think he's going to stay much longer just because given his age and his health. But if you guys disagree on that stuff, please let me know. And I'd like to hear your predictions on what age will Elon Musk continue to work at Tesla. That's all my thoughts on this, and I'll catch you on the next video.